Logging camp. It was a long walk from the train to the logging camp, but I didn't mind. Walking was easy when I thought about the hard work. Like all shanty boys, my home during the logging season was a rough bunkhouse. In our camp, the bunkhouse was one big room. Bunks lined the walls like shelves in a cupboard. They were pretty small until I was used to it. I felt as if I was sleeping in a cupboard. There were not many comforts living in a bunkhouse. There were no mattresses for our bunks. Instead, we used cedar branches and hay covered with blankets. Seems as if we were always bothered by bed bugs. Ugh. When our clothes were wet, we hung them over the stove to dry. The place never smelled too good. Ugh. And sometimes the stove made it as hot as an oven. The most important building in camp was the mess hall. It was full of wooden tables and benches. Of course, there was not electricity. We had kerosene lanterns for light. A huge iron stove kept the place warm. Mealtime was good. We ate more food than you can imagine. We were like machines and we needed plenty of food to keep us running. The cook was an important person. If you didn't do as he said, he didn't feed you. Most important person in the camp, the cook. That way, he kept good order in the mess hall. He also had helpers called chore boys. Night and day, they were always cooking, baking, or dishwashing to do. There were other buildings in camp. We had a barn for the horses and oxen. There was a tool shed. The boss had his own little cabin where he lived and had an office. All in all, there wasn't anything fancy about a logging camp. It was just a rough place to live while logs were being cut. And the work was done in an area the camp was deserted. Oh, after the work was done in an area, the camp was deserted. Then a new one was built in another place.